Hi everyone, it's Jared here from Eaglerise Farm again. I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a deep dive into what we call Gully One, going down to our driveway dam, and to explain how we've managed the ecosystem to try and better the farm and the critters that live with us here. The gully has a catchment of about 37 hectares, and of that we've managed to revegetate 7.5 hectares. So it's pretty pleasing to know that we've actually revegetated 21% of the catchment, and probably another 20% of the catchment is actually on our neighbour's property. So part of the reason for revegetating was to create a buffer and a soak to filter off any water that comes from the neighbouring farm. The lower half of the catchment only had 18 trees on it when I first bought the farm in 2000. So you can see from this graphic here how many trees are growing. It's part of the 22,000 trees we've managed to plant on the farm, and it's had a really big impact on the ecosystem within the farm. The dam didn't exist either. We built that in 2001. And it's about 100 metres long, and it's only fairly narrow, and it's only about 4.5 metres deep. So back in 2000, there was nothing here. There's no dam. There were very few trees. There were no fences. The farm was just a bare paddock that was set stocked with merino wethers. The flow in the gully is really seasonal. When we had enough rain to put a fair bit of water in the soil profile, it starts to leak out through our granity gneiss type soils and seeps down into the gully. And subsequent rains from them, 5-10 mil, just keeps the gully flowing. The gully will keep flowing until the hot season comes along and dries up the soil profile. It might stop and start a couple of times, but during a normal type year, we might have the gully flowing for 6 months or so. Along some of the gully, we've left as grasslands for our seed-eating birds. It's been fascinating watching them come and grow and populate the area. It also gives us the opportunity to see Elise's results from her micro natural sequence farming a la and Peter Andrews' work, where she's put a lot of these rocks across the gully and forced the water to back up. They've created micro leaky dams, and it's managed to drop any silt, and you can see how the grass has grown and has stayed a bit greener there, and that way it's filtering the water and doing a really good job. As you can see from earlier, there's pasture either side of the gully, and so this revegetation allowing the pasture, the native pasture, to grow within the revegetation. The Elisa's natural sequence farming leaky weirs are all slowing the water up and allowing the water from the pasture to be cleaned up and reduce the nutrients that go into the dam, and therefore the nutrients that exit the property. We really try to make the water to be nice and clean by the time it leaves the farm. The siphon just started on our driveway dam, and you can see down there, you can just see that it's starting to really flow. So what this will do is take the pressure on our normal overflow, and this will just drop our dam, and with the rain that we're having, the dam will pulse up and down, and this siphon will just keep going. I'll just come around, you can see the siphon pipe coming up, and it's buried below the track, which is our driveway, and it comes out here, and you can see at the end of it there's a 45 degree, and then there's about 45 centimetres of pipe to a T-piece, which is with holes in it as a strainer. So the dam in a couple of minutes has gone down just a little bit, and over the next half hour or so the dam will drop down. We can see over on the dam bank, it's right up high on the grass, and I'll come back later on and get a photo when it's dropped to show you how far it's dropped. This is our extra overflow. The siphon wasn't working because I hadn't connected it, and so the dam filled up, and this is the emergency overflow. And you can see we've got some rocks there to stop the erosion, and what's been happening is the water's been flowing out and flowing down the drainage line into our neighbour's place. And so we've developed this as a very tiny little red gum forest, if anything, if you want to name it. We just put red gums, and when it does have a big flow, it sort of floods like a red gum forest. The other thing that we've got here is, if I go show you the track, there's just a slight dip in the track here, with just behind the ute, and that's so if our siphon can't handle the flow, and this 12-inch pipe, if it can't handle the flow, the dam will overtop just here, and it'll erode it, but it'll only give us a short section that we have to repair. When we first built the dam, we had a blockage, and the dam overtopped right along here, and it was a massive repair job. So there's our overflow, and that's just a 12-inch concrete pipe, and it goes again under our driveway, and this is where it comes out. So when I take some photos of the dam drop after the siphon, I'll come back and show you this as well. It's a pretty nice place to be. We've had about 80 mil of rain in the last couple of days, and our siphon is working flat out, and this shows our emergency overflow. There's a fair bit of water coming out of our small catchment. The biodiversity of the dam has been absolutely intriguing. I was down there one evening and I walked through a dragonfly swarm. I'd never experienced one before. There were thousands of dragonflies, and they're all coming out of the dam. You couldn't wave your arm around in the air without hitting one. It was absolutely amazing. And then we all got the obvious things like the frogs. As you can see a picture here, and that's evident by all the frog spawn we see. We have a residence of about 12 turtles that we've seen at any one stage, so they're a pretty healthy population as well. And then there's also a picture of a snake that Elisa found at the inlet to the dam, looking quite happy. She was walking along the dam one day and she took this photo of the echidna having a bit of a swim and having a bit of a cool off. Then we've got these two goannas, which tell an incredible story. We took both these photos within 5 minutes of each other and 90 metres apart. They were at either end of the dam. One was on an original stag tree and the other was on an original live tree. And these higher order predators are great indicators of the ecosystem health. Another indicator of the ecosystem health is these spider populations that we've managed to see as well. For several years now, we've had someone from Birding Australia doing official Birds Australia surveys. They've identified many cap species. These are species that are listed under the Conservation Action Plan. They're vulnerable and threatened species. This graph indicates the last 6 years, but it's important to remember that 22 years ago, there was basically nothing on this site. I'd like to just quote from the recent report about this particular site. It says, fairly stable populations across various species. Compared to other properties and sites within the Birds on Farm project, there's above an average cap species number and total species number. This has been attributed to healthy understory. Some of the species are direct indicators of flowering insect presence and basically habitat quality. In summary, we're extremely pleased with the advancement and involvement that we've had in the ecosystem, where we've seen the indicators from the bare paddock 22 years ago to what it is now. It's extremely rewarding to walk the farm and see the range of biodiversity present from insects to top order predators. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.